If you dread speaking up, if your heart races every time you walk into a room full of people, and if you overthink everything that you say, it's not because you're broken. It's because no one taught you the skills to overcome social anxiety. But today, that changes. Today in this video, I'm going to give you 3 skills to get over your social anxiety. Hey guys, it's Brendan. Before we get into these 3 skills, I want to just tell you something and get you to really understand. Social anxiety is just a program. You don't have social anxiety like a name. You know, it's like, I am socially anxious. No, you're not. You're just experiencing some emotion and some thoughts when you're in social situations. That's all it is. I know firsthand. There's been times when I was physically sick because I'd make myself so anxious and nervous in social situations. So it's not just concept and theory, it's things that I've had to work through myself. So it's real life examples. Now I want to just give you a story. You probably heard, stranger danger, don't talk to strangers. Now what is that? Fear. What is anxiety? It's fear of the future. So it's fear, it's in the same category. So as a kid, we are programmed, don't talk to strangers, it's unsafe. Now what happens when we get older? We have that little program stored in the unconscious mind, stored in our nervous system that we don't really think affects us, but it's in the unconscious. And so we get into social situations, and then all of a sudden that program kicks in and goes, holy shit, look at all these strangers, don't talk to them, that's fear, that's unsafe. And then we start having all of these thoughts and overthinking, and it creates all of that havoc that's inside of us. That was the biggest thing that I let go of. There's this thing called the Healthy Harold. If you've ever seen it, if you're not in Australia, you probably don't have a clue what that is. But in school, they went through and it was a van, and they would teach you about, you know, health and hygiene. It was really very small. It should have been so much more of it. It was actually life skills, and school's missing a lot of those things. But one of them was talking about strangers. Now here's the thing, it was useful. Like, no one intentionally thought, and they probably don't have the awareness of this program. And also you have to teach a kid about stranger danger, especially in the world that we live in. But it then becomes a program, and I dare say that so many people probably have that same program. And so for me, it wasn't until I went back and let go of that program and cleared and release it, which is the things that we do inside of our programs and our events and our courses, that then I was able to step out of that. And literally it was quite like that. The next social situation I went into, I felt so much more comfortable. Now, the thing with the skills, we have social skills. So communication is still something that we need to train. So just because you let go of the feeling and you feel better in there, you may still want to learn some of the skills. And so we're going to talk about some skills here in this video. And the first one is master your inner dialogue. I used to drive to meetups, like you just find them online, so even like Toastmasters, and just like book clubs and things. I was just wanted to push myself out of my comfort zone when I first started going through some of my transformations, and I was like, what else can I do? I wanted to really get better at being okay in comfortable situations and build the skills. But I was still very nervous, and I used to drive up to some of them, and I'd just sit in my car and I would have that little voice, and it would just keep going more and more and more until I got to the point where I'd talk myself out of going. And I just kept going. And then I would go the next time, and then I'd do it again. But then I kept going, and then I would go into the event, but then I wouldn't stay very long, and then I would leave. And so I just had to keep pushing myself to go into it. But it was that inner dialogue that I needed to master. It was that little voice that's in the side of my head. And what I want you to understand, and the lesson that I've learned through this, is your anxiety doesn't come from the room, it comes from your mind. Your anxiety only lives up here. Now some of you may say, no, but it's the situation. It's not. It's in your mind. It's all in your mind, and people will probably get butthurt by me saying that. I don't care, because if you want me to feel sorry for you, I will not feel sorry for you. But if you want me to actually help you, please understand that you've created the anxiety, that it's not a disease, it's not a disorder, it's simply a program, and you can let it go. I've seen it happen like this. I've helped thousands of men who have had different types of anxieties and fears and worries, and they've let go of it like this. I had one guy in one session, we worked through anxiety and depression, and at the end he said he's not anxious and he's not depressed. And he still is to this day, simply by pulling out some of the weeds. So no one can tell me otherwise. So there is hope for you. You're not broken. You can get through it 100%. And if you want my help, reach out to me. I'm happy to help you. I had to learn that these triggers are things going on and train and retrain them and kind of reframe them. Now, reframing isn't going to change everything, but it's useful. You might be going into a social situation and you feel nervous or anxious. That's the same as like when you're excited. It's like you've got more energy, you know, your heart might beat a bit faster. So just going, I'm excited, I'm excited. Whenever I go to talk on stage and if I feel like that a little bit of nervousness, I'm like, this is giving me energy, I'm excited. And I reframe it and I walk out on stage and I feel amazing because of that. So I reframe it. Now, one powerful question that you can use is, what's the worst thing that could really happen? The other thing is to imagine that you go out past, if there's a certain event or situation that you're anxious about, just in your mind's eye, close your eyes, go imagine out past it. So it's after it happened. And then you go, well, there's no anxiety there. And so then if there's none there afterwards, why does there have to be any before it? There doesn't. So what you can do is float out afterwards and then slowly make your way back and retrace the steps in your mind's eye, going through the details of the event and all the way back to now. And if you feel it still when you think about it, just go back again and start. You might have to do a couple of times, but keep doing that. And if you do that a few times, you'll feel that there's no anxiety because your mind doesn't know what's the difference between what's real and what's imagined. So if your mind sees that you've already completed this and there's no anxiety there, and you slowly bring that feeling back into the now, it's only your conscious mind that thinks otherwise, but your unconscious mind goes, well, there's no need to put it here. It's a simple technique, but it's really, really powerful. You just got to train your brain to think different and feel different. That's it. Now, William James said, the greatest weapon against stress is your ability to choose one thought over another. So it's literally a choice. You might not think that, but you literally have a choice of what you want to think, what you want to feel, and how you want to react in different situations. And this leads me on to point number 2. Train social exposure like a muscle. Now, in those same situations like I was saying, I would pull up to the car, in the car to the event, and I would just talk myself out of it and I'd leave. But I just kept going. Like, I don't know how many times I wanted to go to at least one a week. I would sometimes even go to 2. And so the first weeks and months, I probably didn't go to any, but I went to them, but I didn't go to any, if you know what I mean. And I would drive up to them, but then I just kept going, and then I'd just get the courage to go out and I'd meet everyone, but it would be so awkward, and then I'd find an excuse or I'd just walk out or go out the back door or something and leave. And that probably went on for a few more, and then I slowly went, and now I literally can go into any room and feel comfortable and just do it. But I had to build that muscle. Now that was before I started working through all of the unconscious programming. Like, if I did that first, it probably would have been much easier for me. But at the time I didn't realize that, and at the time it still worked. So you can still use that, and I do recommend pushing yourself into those uncomfort zones and train that muscle of exposure and social environments, even if you're doing this type of unconscious work at the same time. It may be awkward, it may suck, it may be uncomfortable, but what's on the other side, everything that you desire is on the other side of your comfort zone. So just allow yourself to go out of there. And so what I learned is confidence is built through repetition. So start with micro exposures. You know, if you're having a conversation with someone, try and keep eye contact for as long as you can with them. If you're trying to explain something, even with yourself, you can do it in the mirror and try and keep eye contact with yourself while you're explaining things. Now, when I talk, not so much anymore because I've trained myself, but I used to access memories and things I wanted to say. I'd always look up this way. Even to the point one day where I was talking to someone and I was trying to think about what I said, and eye contact for me was a big one. And someone even said, do you need to be somewhere else? I would think about that and I was like, man, like I was so present, but I was too much in my head that I couldn't just look at them and talk to them and speak to them. And I was trying to think about what I said. And so for me, I trained myself. I was looking at myself in the mirror and I'd have a script that I wanted to memorize. It was just anything. And so it was just some words. But because normally when I remember things, I have to access different parts of my brain. If I wanted to remember something, I would look up here or look up here. So I'd look myself in the eyes and keep looking myself in the eyes until I could remember what I was going to say. And it sucked to this first part. You know, it was really hard. But then I got used to it, and then my communication ability to look at people in the eyes changed so much because of that one thing. So allow yourself to keep going into that and pushing yourself into those comfort zones, the uncomfort zones. The other thing is too, like, you know, if you're getting a coffee or if you're going to the shop, just have that little bit of small talk. Just get used to that. Just get used to meeting someone, saying hi to a stranger. The ability to master a stranger is an amazing skill that you'll be able to learn and grow, and it will serve you for so much, and it will help with the social anxiety and building that muscle. Discomfort is the part of the process. Understand this. Growth is always in the discomfort. If you want to be good at something, if you want to change something, you need to be uncomfortable. Get into the uncomfort zone. I dare say if you're watching this video, you probably are sitting in discomfort anyway. So it doesn't seem like you have to go out of it too much. When the pain of staying in same is greater than the pain of change, that's when you'll start doing things. So allow yourself to enjoy the discomfort, chase it. Life is on the other side of the comfort zone. If you want to be in a comfort zone, eat ice cream, sit on the couch, watch movies, you're not going to really achieve much in life. But if you want to be great, keep chasing that discomfort. Now, Wayne Gretzky said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So just take the shots. Doesn't matter how good they are. You're going to miss, you're going to quote unquote fail, but just keep going, keep getting up. And as one of the famous boxers said, it's all fun and games till you get knocked in the face. But then when you get up, that's where character comes. I think I kind of messed a few up there, but you get what I'm saying. So that leads me on to skill number 3. Focus on service, not self. I used to be so worried about what others would think of me. And so in situations, and it's so common, I was like trying to be in the conversation, but I was thinking in my head what I was gonna say next, what that person would thought of me, and I really wasn't in the conversation at all. And I was so anxious because I was running around in my head, what am I gonna say? And I wasn't even listening to them, so it's hard to say and be in the conversation and respond to someone if you don't even know what they said. But then I was in my head the whole time, and that's what helped to create the anxiety and the nervousness and the feelings of awkwardness, because I just was not focused on me. I was not focused on them, I was focused on me. So really focus on them. Anxiety is very self-centered. You know, it's like, what if I mess this up? What if they judge me? We got to flip it, and we got to focus on adding value to others. Listen, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. One of the best ways to be in a good conversation is just to listen and ask questions about that person. Someone might say, what do you do for work? You say, this. And then you go, oh cool, tell me a little bit more about that. Why do you enjoy it? How long have you been doing it for? Then there's so many questions that you can ask about that one topic. Then you're in the conversation and things will just flow. So really focus on the other person, and it's one of the key things. When I'm presenting, when I'm talking right here, when I'm getting to flow in events and calls, and when I'm speaking, I just get into flow and I don't think about what I'm gonna say. I just speak and I just fully focus on the camera or on my audience or whoever it is that I'm talking to, even if it's a one-on-one session. I'm fully focused on the other person, and the words come through because it's like a channel and I don't have to worry about my thoughts blocking it. The more you think, the less you have room for that to come through. So just allow yourself to be there. You have the words, you know how to communicate, you know how to talk, you know how to ask questions. Just be there, be where your feet are, be in the conversation, and the words will just flow. It's the biggest thing. Now, Muhammad Ali said, service to others is the rent you pay for the room here on earth. I think it's so important. And you simply can serve others and make them feel important, which then makes you feel important simply by just listening to them. Simply by just being in and concentrating on them, being fully present on them. Because it's hard to respond and talk to someone if you're not even there listening to them. So social confidence isn't something you're born with, it's built. 1 rep at a time. You've just got to keep training it. Keep focusing on these skills. Those 3 skills are the things that are going to help you. Again, it's not going to just change overnight. You need to build these things. So start today, because the world is waiting for the real you to speak up. The world is waiting for you to put a value on yourself. We are all waiting for you to put a value on yourself. So put a value on yourself, raise your confidence, show the world how great you are. We'll be here to cheer you the whole way. So if there's anything I can do, let me know. I got your back for life. Drop in the comments what your biggest takeaway was, any realizations, insights, any feedback, what you liked, what you didn't like, what you want to see more of. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this with someone who you think will benefit, give back to someone else. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. You made it to the end of the video and you are one of the top 1%ers who get to this point. Now, if you're sick and tired of not growing to the level that you want, if you're sick and tired of being the same spot that you were 12 months ago, if you're like, you know what, I've got so much more to offer, but I don't really know how to get there, then if that is you, down below, book in your call with one of my team. Just enter your phone, enter your email, and enter your number. And hey, look, we can't reach you if you enter details that are wrong. So enter your right details. We'll be able to reach out to you. We'll show you the 4 stages that we take men through that's gonna completely rip you out of your current situation and push you in a new direction that where you want to go. I will push you as hard as I can to get that outcome for you, because I know how much the life is good on the other side of it when we get out of the shit, when we get onto where we want to go. So click the button and I'll see you on the other side.